Everybody, we are back. It's your favorite Raiders podcast. It is Tape Don't Lie. It's another episode. We're going to be covering day 2, a little day 3 a little bit today. So, going over the draft picks, doing a little more breakdowns, giving you guys that super in-depth stuff that you like. So, and of course, the super in-depth conversations, right? So go ahead and make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, Go ahead, hit the subscribe. I want to thank you guys. We got 4,000 subscribers off the last video. So we really appreciate all you guys and all the new subscribers. Welcome to Taped Online. Go ahead and check all our old videos. You know what I'm saying? Learn a little something. I know Paul Gunther's defense is gone, but still go back and check some things out. You know what I'm saying? And so, but make sure you hit more people. This is your first time here. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and do that. And then you make sure you follow us on Twitters. You know who it is. It's BD Williams with me right here. He is at BD Williams 18, and I am Marcus Johnson at the Mark John NFL. All right. So, like I said, this week we are going over some more draft picks, giving you guys more of that draft stuff, kind of wrap up the draft a little bit. Going to a little day 2, do a little day 3, go over some of these guys, especially some of these guys you probably never seen before. I know Malcolm Koonce, we talked about him before, but Divine Deable, right, which is a great name. That I am saying his name right. I just want to make sure that
Divine Deable. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. We'll find out soon enough.
Divine,
it's also Yannick Ngakoue, not Yannick Ngakoue. I said Yannick Ngakoue his entire career. I said that. And then it's also Trayvon Merrick, I guess, not Morig. Trayvon Merrick. So
Trayvon Merrick.
That's what they say.
I said Devin Booker all year for Devontae, so it's okay. It's all right. I said Devin Booker all year, so we're right. If Devontae watched the show,
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that too. Yeah.
So that's how it goes. All right. But yeah, we're really going to Divine Deable, little Malcolm Koonce. We already broke him down, but I'm gonna be talking about a little bit more about things I do like about his game and some things that might keep him from developing as quickly as we like. I think he's got a little work to do as a pass rusher, especially just with some things. But I still think there's some good upsides with Deable and Koonce. I think Deable has a lot of upside, and so does Koonce. I mean, if they can develop and become good players, they can. They got something to work with. But and I'll be going over Deable, so a couple of things that things I do like, and some things I don't like. So we'll be. You know how we do, guys. You know what we're gonna do. So, what are you talking about today, BD? What are you talking about?
Well, my original assignment was to do both Tyree Gillespie and Nate Hobbs for this episode. Unfortunately, Raider Nation is going to have to wait for Nate Hobbs. I couldn't get around to it. I had a really busy week, a lot of personal things going on in my life. So, apologies to the listeners, to the audience. I will be breaking on Tyree Gillespie. I like Tyree Gillespie. He was in my top 10 safety prospects available this year. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about some of his strengths and weaknesses and how he slots in. How some of his game projects to the next level. So we'll see about that. Why don't you just jump in and talk to us about your guys?
All right, let's go ahead. Let's just jump right in there. All right. So let's go ahead and start with Divine Deable, okay? And go ahead and start off a little coverage, right? This dude's he's a big dude, 227 pounds, but we're gonna be watching how he moves in coverage, which is just very, very smooth. You see his hips right there when he goes into turn. Definitely has smooth hips. We'll zoom in a little bit. And he's just smooth in coverage, man. He just moves like a DB, right? I mean, they want him to play will linebacker, but this guy moves like a DB in coverage, right? And you'll see here in the slot again in coverage. You just see it, everything just smooth movement. It doesn't lose any steps. Doesn't have a false step. You'll see this. This is an interception. This is just kind of just straight DB. I mean, he's 227 pounds, and he's doing that coming out of transition out of a back pedal. I mean, there's some players that are corners that don't transition out of the back pedal like that. You know what I mean? And that's 227 pounds right there, dude. So he's got some coverage skills. Okay, he is got cover skills that has a lot of upside as a will linebacker in coverage, right? And he can be versatile, right? But the real question, we all have is can he play linebacker? I mean, right? I mean, that's the big question that everybody has. I mean, they're moving him to will linebacker. He's not playing safety for the Raiders, right? I mean, well, he might play a little bit of hybrid, right? But he is a very sound tackler. You see that right there. Look at that great wrap up. Great. You'll see it again. This is a textbook tackle, actually, in open field, right? He breaks down, right? Gets a good base and wraps it right around the legs. Easy, brings him down really, real easy, right? And then you see him here. He's playing a little bit of run fits, right? Great tackle, definitely sizes him up, right? Brings him down. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. When he does miss, it's a little embarrassing, but he doesn't miss a lot of tackles. Okay. So this is, like I said, that's him playing the run fit, but he is clean right there, right? So you can tell he's kind of clean. Here he kind of, sets up a block, but it wasn't too much of a shed playing the block deck there, but it was a good tackle. And this tackle is crazy, man. He just almost takes his quarterback's head off. Good Lord. I don't know how that quarterback kept playing after this game, but he did. But man, he take this dude off. So he can hit too. Like he can bring the wood, you know what I mean? So he's a big hitter. And you know what I'm saying? But sometimes in space or like trying to come up and make a tackle, he doesn't really shed blocks like he should, right? Like right there, you want to see him run through that wide receiver. And then this one's weird. He like uses his shoulder. Like I understand that. I understand why he was trying to use his shoulder there instead of try to play through his hands. But the biggest thing that is wrong with Deable, in my opinion, is effort at times. Like I think like some of the stuff is kind of just bad. You know what I mean? It's just bad to watch. Like this play right here, like why is he's kind of jogging? Like if this dude runs a 4.4, he's not even trying to chase the guy down. I mean, he's in the play. You know what I mean? And it's just not a good look. And then there's this one. You know what I'm saying? Like he just lets the quarterback just walking in the end zone. Like he's right there. You see him, right? I mean, yeah, he could try to angle. He just kind of jogs, just let him walk in. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. You tell me if I'm nitpicking a little bit. Look at it. Look, he's just jogging. He was he's just jogging. You know what I mean? It was just weird. I don't know. I thought that the effort was odd for how good of a player that he was at times. So pass rush talent is what we got with Malcolm Koonce. Malcolm Koonce is pass rush talent. You'll see it right here with the you get the hands inside and convert it to the long arm, and then corner to the quarterback with that bend. You know what I mean? That's all Malcolm Koonce is bend, nasty bend, right? He's probably one of the most bendy guys you'll see in the draft this year. I mean, there wasn't a lot of defensive ends with the bend that Malcolm Koonce has, right? And you can see it. He has a lot of technique, good hands inside to the long arm, right? And you see him here on this one, right? He's playing the run, realizes it's not a run. Quickness right past him, right? He just chops right past him really quick. And then, if you watch the show, you've seen this play before, and you see the bend that he has, man. The bend is insane, right? Just bend right to the quarterback, get the sack, right? That's Malcolm Koonce. It's bend. I mean, that's the best way to describe him. It's just bend, you know what I mean? And the type of bend that he has is that things that translate to sacks in the NFL, because cornering to the quarterback is so important. Making that corner, bending around that corner, around that offensive tackle is important. But I do want to talk about one thing with Malcolm Koonce is his upfield burst. Okay, upfield burst. What is that, Marcus? That is how quick you get off the ball, right? And Malcolm Koonce is not very quick off the ball. And I think will always be one of his biggest issues, right? Is that he's just not very quick off the ball, but was able to get away with that in college. But in the NFL, you're not going to be able to get, you allow guys to get into their sets. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for him. So he has to work on that up. He has to watch the football and get off the ball quicker. And against the run, I mean, like I said, he's not a type of guy to set the edge guy. You see, he doesn't really make contact. He kind of just, tries to make a speed move to get on the tackle. You see right here that he does play this zone right really well. You see it, right? He's got the two-way go with the zone. He plays it really well. Keeps his eyes on the quarterback. He's able to make that tackle, right? So versus the run, he's got some plays, right? He makes some plays, but at the end of the day, when he's trying to really set the edge, I mean, he doesn't do it. He doesn't set the edge well. He got saved by this defensive tackle on this play, as you could see, that allowed that linebacker to come in and fill that fit. But I mean, if he wasn't there, if that defensive tackle ended up losing too, just like he did, that's a big play. And so he kind of got saved by this defensive tackle, not allowing that center to get up to number 20, and that allowed the number 20 to stay free and kind of help him out a little bit on that run on the last run play I showed. But Koonce, I think he has a lot of potential as a pass rusher. Okay, he does have a lot of potential. Like I tell you, that bend is you're born with that bend, right? He has that bend that you love in a pass rusher. Okay, and like Azeez Ojulari does not have bend like that. Kwity Paye did not have bend like that. There wasn't a lot of pass rushers that had bend. Like maybe Jalen Phillips had a little bit of bend, but it wasn't like how Koonce gets around the corner. Okay, it's pretty special bend, but the upfield burst is a big thing. I mean, when you're a defensive end, or you're playing in the NFL, I mean, getting off the snap quicker is important. You know what I mean? Like sure, you could win with technique and you can win, with the bend. He's going to beat some tackles in the NFL. He's going to beat just based on his pass rush talent. But for him to develop and become the pass rusher he can be with his bend and that athleticism he has to get off the ball quick. And I don't know if it was a Buffalo coach thing, because that whole team got the ball slow. So I don't know if it was coaching or maybe he likes to do that little hop skip thing. They got to kind of coach him out of that, because I'm like, this dog, you're not playing wide receiver. You're not
the false step.
Yeah. He likes to do and he likes to false step to act like he's playing wide receiver. Like you're not going against press, bro. You're trying to be a tackle. So, you just got to be coached up a little bit. I think Koonce, he's a development player. I expect him to develop this year and start to get some playing time later on, because I don't think he's gonna be able to stay off the field with that pass rush talent. I don't think it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna be like, okay, especially if they're getting sacks early. They're like, go ahead, Malcolm, go see what you got, because they're gonna try to find a way, right? They're gonna find a way to get sacks. So I think he's gonna get some playing time, and I think he might get stuff like that. But I think they got to coach him to be more decisive when he is rushing the passer, and just kind of get off the ball. Don't dance as much. It works against Bowling Green. Yeah, you can dominate dancing against Bowling Green, but we got Orlando Brown. He's a big boy. He's not gonna just be able to dance around Orlando Brown. So that's kind of my thoughts on Koonce. Deable, I think Deable has a lot of upside. I talked about that, especially in coverage. I think he has a lot of upside in coverage. He makes a lot of plays too, man. I think the one thing that I liked on tape is that he's a playmaker, causes fumbles. He picked off Trevor Lawrence. He baited him. I mean, this is a dude that's going to come in and play with a linebacker. He's baiting Trevor Lawrence, right? And, coming from the other side and picking off balls. Deable, he has a lot of talent in coverage, right? And he's a sound tackler. It's just more about developing, what is he in the NFL? Because he's too big to play safety, right? He's too big to play safety. So you want to bring him down, maybe play some linebacker, right? But can he play linebacker? Is he gonna take on blocks? Is he able to do that? I mean, he's a good tackler, but I mean, you kind of get into the Tanner Muse thing. But he's a better in coverage than Muse is, and he's a better better movement skill, so that coverage upside is there, right? Because I believe he could step in and probably guard some tight ends pretty well. In the NFL, but it's just effort with me, man. That was what I didn't like about him. That effort was killing me, bro. And it wasn't just what I showed on those tapes. It's a lot, man. It's like he took plays off, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just watched the whole Gruden coaching clinic, and he had an effort section. So, I mean, they're going with upside on this guy, and but I don't know. Your thoughts, BD?
Well, first of all, my thoughts on Malcolm Koonce. Okay. I really enjoyed how you showed us maybe his get off isn't where it's supposed to be, because I have not seen that critique of his game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like to stick with he's not a good run defender. And look, you got Yannick Ngakoue, you got Max Crosby. The guy is not playing on first downs for the Raiders unless there's some catastrophic injuries, Okay.
Yeah.
He's not here to stop the run, Raider Nation. He's going to be a situational pass rusher. Okay. Like Uchenna Nwosu was for Gus Bradley's defense the last few years in Los Angeles. He's going to play between 100 and 200 snaps. They're going to basically all be on third downs or obvious passing downs. He's going to be able to peel his ears back and get after the quarterback. But as far as the get off, Gus Bradley talked about it in his opening press conference. He wants penetration. He wants get off. It marries perfectly with Rod Marinelli's coaching style, where if you look at anything that Rod Marinelli has put out, he always talks about get off. So they are going to coach that false step out of him. They're going to have him watching the ball and exploding off, so he can maximize some of those things where I think that he is a very polished guy in terms of his hand fighting. I think that a lot of times you see bendy guys like him, okay? And they don't have an inside move. They don't have a long arm, right? It's like it's going to be a speed rush, speed rush, speed rush. But for Malcolm Koonce, he's got some polish already with his hand fighting. And I think that gives him a leg up because you have to be a master of your craft to rush the passer in the NFL. So I think that is going to help him in his development. And if what he needs to focus on is just getting off the ball faster, he's already got some things where, even if he doesn't improve his hand fighting year one, he's more polished than Max Crosby was as a rookie. Right.
Yeah.
So I like Malcolm Koonce. I think that's perfect. They needed another guy like Yannick Ngakoue in case Yannick Ngakoue goes down to play that spot in Gus Bradley's defense. Is very important for Gus Bradley's defense to have, that Leo pass rusher. He wants the littler guy, the littler pass rusher. That's something that is important for Gus Bradley's scheme. So you got a guy who's a backup with some good potential, but that's what he is. He's a backup. And as far as Divine Deable, when I saw him at the Senior Bowl, they were having him line up as a linebacker at the Senior Bowl. I watched every single safety and cornerback one-on-one at, all the defensive back drills at the Senior Bowl. Divine Deable was not involved in any of those drills. He was playing linebacker at the Senior Bowl. So when I went through my list of safeties, I did not even watch him because I was like, he's playing linebacker in the NFL if that's what they have him doing at the Senior Bowl. And then when you look at, what his height and weight was when he weighed in the Senior Bowl, it's like, okay, he's 6'2", 230. Like he's not a safety in the NFL. He's a linebacker, right? But then, you find out, oh, okay, this guy has an incredibly impressive athletic profile in terms of how fast he's able to run and all those things to go along with the size. Yeah, we're talking about a guy with fantastic upside in the NFL. And again, I think, to be honest with you, there's two guys whose spots are locked in this defense. Well, you could say three because Trayvon Moore, his spot is locked, right? Corey Littleton, weak side linebacker, and Yannick Ngakoue, right, as a pass rusher. Those guys, their spots are locked. Malcolm Koonce is going to back up one of those. Divine Deable, he's going to back up the other one, right? So that's what Divine Deable is. He is going to back up Corey Littleton. He is not going to start, So that's going to let him have some time to develop in terms of being able to shed like a linebacker. You just don't go through the same kind of drills as a linebacker does. When you're playing defensive back, you're not going through the same kind of block shedding drills. You're focused on, beating a crack block. You're focused on beating a stock block from a slot wide receiver. You're not practicing how your technique taking on blockers in the box when it's a tackle coming out on you when you're a defensive back. You're just not practicing that, He has the athletic profile that he should be able to develop in that area. It remains to be seen how quickly he progresses in that respect. But, best case scenario, he's not a first down player. He's not a rundown player as a rookie. He'll be a situational pass rusher or cover linebacker for the Raiders in year one, and he'll be a special teams guy. And so I think that's what the great thing about both these picks are, Malcolm Koonce and Divine Deable. There's a lot of upside there, and they don't have to start. So that's the good part about both those guys. And again, Corey Littleton should be seeing the vast majority of snaps. It would be a pretty either Divine Diablo is coming along incredibly quickly to beat out Corey Littleton, who he's getting paid like total like signing bonus and his salary and everything is like it's like 11 million.
Yeah.
He's not. I'm sorry. Divine Diablo is not gonna start over Corey Littleton. Like Corey Littleton has to have like a broken something, okay, or a torn something before Divine Diablo starts. And he's been a pretty healthy guy in his career. So again, he's a developmental guy, and maybe a plan for if they don't decide to bring back Corey Littleton when his money's not guaranteed next year in 2022, but 2021 he's going to be a backup and a special teams player for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and he has 17 special teams tackles. So that's why the effort thing. It's like weird. Like you're a special teams guy and you're just like jogging on the field. That's what I was like, doesn't make any sense. Like special teams guys are hustle guys.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how quickly, that bad habit gets broken out of him,
Yeah.
Especially because it's going to be like, he's not going to play a bunch of snaps. So there's no need for him to ever take a play off when he get, at least in his first year in the NFL. Like he's not going to have enough snaps to be like, okay, I need to take a play off, so he should be balls to the wall every time he gets on the field for the Raiders this year. It'll be punt coverage, kick coverage, and like 4 snaps at weak side linebacker a game. Like you don't need to take plays off when that's all you're doing,
Yeah. All right, man. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some safety from Missouri.
Tyree Gillespie. I like Tyree Gillespie. I was impressed with some things when I watched him before the Raiders even took him. I like the player a lot. Tyree Gillespie. Okay. Here's a young man who, if we're talking about best in class players who play through a straw, meaning you don't got to worry about what everyone else is doing. They're doing their job, and you just have to go run through the ball carrier. Tyree Gillespie, he's your guy. You see full extension on that tackle against Najee Harris. Here he is. He's the force player, not allowed to let anything bounce outside of him. And you see when he makes contact with this ball carrier, he consistently gets this full extension. He's an impact tackler. This is a great play. He's the force player again on the opposite side, and he sees, okay, we're not going to get a bounce. Let me go and make this goal line stop right here. I'd say that, for my money, we're not seeing many safeties, certainly not Trayvon Moore, going to be able to make a goal line stop here. And again, another goal line stop. He can play through a hose. This guy is a really strong, powerful young man. Okay. And then they also use him as almost like a quarterback spy, the way that they defended the quarterback run here was with Tyree Gillespie against Kentucky. He made a couple of these plays in the open field. So that's something that I wanted to show. Now he lined up at free safety in the deep middle. It was primarily a single high scheme. And I just didn't like ever. I never liked his instincts as a deep middle defender. You see here, he's visioning the quarterback and he kind of loses track, and it takes him, like 4 steps to turn and break on this. It would have been a completion in the NFL. You see here, he likes to get into this half turn. He guesses way too much. And, you should not ever give up a completion post down the middle when you're in single high like this. He just gets moved way out of his zone. I mean, yeah, to credit, he makes a big hit on the receiver, but he should have picked that off if the quarterback really wanted to throw there. And then you see here, he's, when he's breaking on the ball, he's taking a funny angle here, flat towards the sideline, and he has to adjust. And, that's not where the ball was going, This is another one. I think that this is a pretty good indicator of where he's at in coverage right now in the deep middle. His footwork isn't great here. You'll see him. He gets straight up and down. He's not in a good position, and he's trying to guess. And really, you want him to be in more of a a ready position and shuffle over the top of this and stay square, and maybe he can make an impact on that play. So I've been crapping on him in coverage. So what is he good at? All right. Well, first of all, when he's coming forward, okay, he's gonna let guys know. Everyone knows about this play, breaking up that pass to Devontae Smith. They're in cover 5 here, and he puts his foot on the brakes and explodes through Devontae Smith, makes pass breakup. Here he is in 2019. He's in Palms coverage, like a cover 2 variant, cover 4 variant, and is able to half turn this. He gets away with the half turn. You can do that in quarters. And he breaks up this pass intended to Raiders wide receiver Bryan Edwards in 2019. And I also really liked Tyree Gillespie as a blitzer. Okay, there was a couple games where they got him involved in the blitz packages. You see him ricochet off that tight end right there against an unbalanced formation. So he's able to fight through the contact here and hit that quarterback and mess that passing play up. And then here they got all this little action in the backfield, and he's able to come down with a sack. And for me, when I watched Tyree Gillespie, I was like, okay, look, I know that he lined up at free safety. He's not a free safety in the NFL yet. Maybe eventually he could turn into it because he is a fantastic athlete. Okay. But all of his plays were coming forward that he made on the ball. It was very rare for him to make a play going backwards on the ball, on the ball or in coverage. And that's why when I watched him well before the Raiders even took him, I was thinking this guy is a strong safety in the NFL. Really liked him when he was the primary run support player, whether he had a gap responsibility or whether he was the force player in the front, in the fit rather. I really liked his ability to get the ball carrier on the ground and explode through the ball carrier. He's a fierce hitter, and he flashes some ability, okay, where he has some good range. Like he can move. Okay, this guy has a really good athletic profile. He can really move. It's just the footwork isn't quite there. The eye discipline isn't quite there, right? Where he's making an impact, even though he is a great athlete. And we talked about this on an earlier pod. Range is playing speed plus instincts plus transitions. And his instincts and his transitions aren't good enough where he can really show off his range, even though he's faster than Trayvon Moore, right? He can really run. He can fly, but he's just not. There's just not enough detail in his game yet where he can show, that kind of impact and make that impact in coverage. And I do think that he's a very similar caliber of a prospect coming out as like Jonathan Abram was, in terms of a guy who can really hit, who makes plays coming forward, maybe some question marks about his footwork and his ability to play the pass. So I think that he's a good option to be a backup to Jonathan Abram, and the strong safety is a very important, integral part of Gus Bradley's cover 3 scheme. You need a guy who can move, and they're going to coach him up on his footwork. They're going to coach him up on his eyes. But again, he'll be a backup. He's not ready to start. I don't think, I just don't think I see enough polish from him in coverage, but I like the upside. I think that he could develop into a starting caliber safety in the near future. There's just some very fixable things that he's got to work on. But so I do like the pick, and he's going to be a demon on special teams. This is a guy who is going to fly down the field, and he'll probably make a couple like fantastic hits in the kick game for the Raiders this year. And maybe, we'll see if he does has to back up Jonathan Abram, if he gets the call over Carl Joseph as the, to back up Jonathan Abram, because most likely Jonathan Abram will get hurt. I mean, his playing style is so ferocious. He's going to get hurt. So you need a guy, a similar caliber athlete to play that strong safety position, or Gus Bradley's scheme does not work. So it's good that they have a couple of these guys, a couple options behind Jonathan Abram. And maybe if Jonathan Abram doesn't get it figured out, maybe they go with one of these other guys. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like Gillespie's film too. I thought he was a good player. I think they got rid. That was a great value pick. Everybody talks about value, right? That was a great value pick for the Raiders, to be honest. I mean, that was a great pick. That's why they traded up for it. I love the pick because he has getting safeties and we talked about this all draft period. Getting safeties in day 2, day 3 is not a bad thing. I mean, so a lot of safeties that go that late, they are pretty good. I mean, the best safety in the draft last year that's playing right now is Justin Blackman. He went 4th round, and he came onto the Colts and
Antoine Winfield.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, Justin Blackman played just as well, but but basically my point is that you can get a safety in the 4th round. That's good.
Yeah.
Right. And
yes.
And once you get those type of players, you bring them in the system. I think it'll be good because even though you don't want him playing deep safety, if guys go down, we don't have to see Dallin Levitt playing free safety. It would be Gillespie. And and even
way better. Yes.
You know what I mean? So if guys go down, things happen. I think the Raiders have more depth on defense, and I think that's a good thing. And the people ask how was his defense revamped? And I don't know if the defense was revamped. I think the defense was just added with depth. It's just depth everywhere, right?
Yeah, we talked about backups at key positions, right? Look at how many guys they brought in on the interior defensive line. Malcolm Koonce is going to back up Yannick Ngakoue. You're going to see a rotation with Clelin Ferrell and Max Crosby and David Irving, Solomon Thomas, Quentin Jefferson. Maybe one of these other guys, Darius Stills. Kendall Vickers. We'll see. But there's a big rotation that's taking shape, and we'll see who gets the start on the defensive line. But no defensive lineman plays 100 snaps or 100% of the snaps. You got to have a rotation in there, right? And then, linebacker, Devon Deable, Tanner Muse are going to be in the rotation. And then the entire secondary, it's there's competition everywhere. That's what that's what the improvement is the third string guy is way better this year than it was last year.
And that's the point. You know what I mean? A lot of people how does the defense improve? Is if Jonathan Abram goes down, Carl Joseph comes in.
Yeah.
Right. He's solid. Is Carl Joseph great? No. Right. But he's a solid player. He's solid. Right. He might have some bad games, but he'll have some good games too. Right. He's just a solid player. And drafting guys like Deable, and then you have Moose, and then you have all these players that there's everywhere. You know what I mean? So the only position I worry about from the defense right now is slot corner. I don't know who's playing slot corner.
We will see. We will certainly see. We didn't get a chance to talk about Casey Hayward. So maybe that's a good transition here. I was curious because I did remember seeing against the Buccaneers, Casey Hayward play some inside some, right? Mm-hmm. But I asked you to send me his snap counts as a slot corner. And, he didn't really ever play slot corner. I think that the only reason that he was inside for a few snaps in that game was because Chris Harris got banged up. And so they slotted Casey Hayward inside, but he didn't continue playing that position. They brought someone else in after Chris Harris got hurt to play the nickel for them. And so I do think that he is strictly an outside guy. Rasul Douglas also is strictly an outside guy in the NFL. From everything that I've seen, I haven't dived into his tape yet. I will get around to eventually, Raider Nation. But from what I know about Rasul Douglas, he's an outside guy strictly. Trayvon Mullen is an outside guy strictly. Isaiah Johnson is an outside guy right? So, yes, who's going to play slot corner? It's going to be pretty interesting. And I think that it's not the greatest competition of all time between, in my opinion, I think Damon Arnett is going to get a go there. And Amik Robertson, and then I guess Keyshawn Nixon, right? It's not the greatest competition of all time. I guess Keyshawn Nixon can do a kickflip on a skateboard, so some West Coast Raider Nation fans might be a big fan of that, and I have liked Keyshawn Nixon his tape in 2019 was solid as a rotational guy, and
Yeah.
then 2020 he took a huge step backwards. He looked like a guy who did not belong in the NFL. Amik Robertson, he did struggle. We talked about why he struggled, because Paul Guenther wants guys playing man coverage while looking at the quarterback, which is almost impossible to do, certainly when you're playing Tom Brady, okay? Or, Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen.
Gosh. So I think that Amik Robertson has a good chance of being able to win that starting spot if Damon Arnett, if they see Damon Arnett as an outside guy. We haven't closed the book on any of these guys yet. A COVID offseason. B, a probably not NFL caliber defensive coordinator and Paul Guenther, if we're being completely honest. And then, getting to a scheme where they're going to have to do one thing, and they're going to get a chance to get like good enough at it to, compete in the NFL in terms of the slot corner and the cover three, which is going to be like 60% of the play calls. And all the slot corner does in cover three is he's a curl flat player. That's it. There's no thinking, right? So it helps out that, if they have a young player there, it helps out that it's going to be a relatively simpler assignment than it would be for a lot of other teams. So yeah, so it remains to be seen. That is the biggest question mark, because the slot corner is a starter in the NFL. I liked Damon Arnett's aggressiveness against the run. He's got to learn to pick and choose when he lays his body on the line so he can stay healthy for the Raiders. Yeah. And also everyone knows Meek Robinson because everyone watches highlight films. He's a dog, so I think it'll be a good competition between those two guys. But I whoever wins, there is going to still be a lot to prove. So yeah, so we will see about that.
Interesting. That is a good point. Like, I mean, since they don't play too much man to man, I mean, the slot corners it's not going to be like, doing in cover, like he's going to be playing curls and flats, right? And I think Amik Robinson could do that. I think even Damon Arnett could probably do that too. I mean,
I personally am leaning towards Damon Arnett. I thought that Damon Arnett was better in zone coming out than Trayvon Mullen was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that something that we're not talking about a lot is that Trayvon Mullen is going to have to play a heavy amount of zone. Hopefully, Ron Miles allows him to play a technique where he's not having to line up 7 yards and backpedal because he has such long legs. It's just not really going to be his forte ever, So hopefully he can play some zones from press, from closer up, and reroute wide receivers when he's playing press. But a lot of these guys, Damon Arnett, they played a lot of man coverage at Ohio State. Amik Robertson was like exclusively a man coverage guy. So now they're going to a zone heavy scheme. There's going to be some growing pains, which is why they brought in Casey Hayward and Rasul Douglas, who are two zone corners in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, man. Well, good stuff, dude. Giving everybody, every Gillespie film that I see from Raiders is like, oh my God, he's the greatest. So giving that breakdown, kind of get that perspective. That's what we try to do here. Give both sides. Not say every player is the greatest player in the world that comes to the Raiders. Try to give you that honest breakdown and feedback. So hope you guys enjoyed everything that we've done today. So any last words, BD? Any thoughts?
Anything happen Raiders wise last couple days?
Nah, man. Nothing.
That's Raiders-wise. Numbers came out for some players.
Who cares? Who cares about that? We're not talking about numbers.
I think that's the only thing I saw on social media about the Raiders. So yeah, that's it. That's it from me. Okay. Raider Nation, we really appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. We've grown our listenership, our audience. Since we started doing this, so we really, really appreciate it. We have some extra things coming down the pipeline. First of all, Marcus and I started a venture together. We are writing on it's called a Substack. We're going to put the link in the description below. We're going to start flooding this Substack with lots of Raiders film content, some analysis, some deep dives. It's not going to be, oh, John Gruden doesn't get love from the media. Not that kind of stuff. Okay, we're talking about the nitty gritty, the bells and whistles of what's going on with scheme, with technique, with players. So, make sure you subscribe to that Substack right now. Everything's going to be free for everyone who's signing up. So when you click it, you subscribe. You're going to get an email every time we drop something, drop an article off in the Substack, and you'll be able to follow along with our thoughts. So please make sure that you check it out. We already got a couple articles up there, as of now. I'm sure many of you have seen those, but, just stay tuned because some of those things are coming down the pipeline. And as always, follow us on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @BDWilliams18. I'm the defense guy, the safety guy. People are probably sick of me talking about safeties. Oh my gosh. We have 18 safeties. Someone was like, we got 18 safeties on Twitter today. And I laughed. That was hilarious. Follow Marcus. Marcus is offense quarterback extraordinaire. He's at the Mark John NFL on Twitter. Follow our Substack, hit subscribe to the YouTube channel. We really appreciate all the support that we're getting from you guys each and every week. I think our last video is one of our strongest videos ever. Alex Leatherwood, Trayvon Morik. I mean, first and second round picks. That's always gonna do good numbers, right? So we'll see if these day 2, day 3 picks gets the same amount of love. But yeah, that's it. That's it from me, Raider Nation. We appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Peace.